Welcome to Module 5. In this module, we're going to discuss the TNT strategy. This is the most simplest and most powerful strategy that vIMTF has to offer. In fact, you should be consistently profitable with this strategy before moving on to any others. If you can't become successful in this strategy, there's no way you're going to become successful in any of the others, which are derivatives of this one. This is the most simplest, easiest, and most profitable strategy, reason why it's pure trend trading. Let's go for the background for this TNT strategy. As we mentioned, it's the most powerful and easiest strategy. You also have two resources that are available to help you out. The very first is that we have a specific WhatsApp channel just for the TNT strategy. You could access it from here. Also, the website also gives you the ability to scan for TNTs on any time frame and any instrument basis. So we will go through that in a separate module of how to use a scanner, but you have these resources that are available to help you find these TNTs very easily. Next, we're going to discuss what does a TNT bar have to offer. We discussed this briefly when we went through the bar colors. Now we're going to go for in great detail. The very first advantage that the TNT bar is that it gives you forecasting. It tells you that something has a high probability to happen on the next bar. So it tells you, hey, look at this instrument in this time frame. That's where the opportunity is. And that's a huge advantage that you have, because now you're prepared for the next bar. You'll know exactly where to enter and so forth, because you're going to have the blue dots, the red dots, and the targets. So you're going to be completely prepared for the next bar to open before something happens. By being prepared and putting the orders out there, you're taking advantage of getting in before the move happens. By doing that, you're not giving up some of the reward, you're actually capturing it, and you got a high probability to get a 3-to-1 reward risk ratio or more. The second thing it offers is that the TNT's highs and lows are major support resistances. So when you do break the high or low of the TNT on the next bar, it tells you you got a high probability to start a full-blown trend. These two advantages here for the TNT are very powerful, and it allows us to build a strategy behind them. Okay? To go for a little more details, remember, all the orders for the TNT strategy, along with all the other vIMTF strategies, all the orders are always on the next bar, and it's only for one bar completely, and that's it. Okay? Also, the direction of the trade. Here, you want to always make sure for this TNT strategy that you have a shade on the TNT bar. If it's red, it means you're betting on it going down. If it's green, you're going to bet on it going up. So by having a shade on the TNT bar, it tells you what direction to start preparing for. If there's no shade on the TNT, then you really don't know the direction at all, and we'll cover that a little later in another module. Here's the overall trading plan for the TNT strategy. This is very similar to the high level we went through, except for these two little options here, which are part of the TNT strategy. So if you have a TNT strategy, then you want to make sure it has a shade. If it has no shade, there's no opportunity at all. The next thing you also want to do is make sure it's in the direction of the V trend. That's higher probability compared to opposite. If it's opposite, you're taking a counter trend trade. So very first thing you should do is, even though this is optional, if you want to be consistently profitable with strategy 1, you always want to make sure this is not optional at all, and the V trend and the shade are in the same direction. If they are, you place the orders. If you don't enter, you exit out. You're only allowed one bar to enter. Okay? If you enter, you want to make sure you're profitable. If you're not profitable, you're going to exit the trade. If you're profitable, the first bar is success. Second bar, you want to look at the V closes in respect to your entry. If it's above it for bullish, you stay in the trade. If it's below it for bearish, you stay in the trade. If you stay in the trade, you're now at the second bar success. If you didn't have the correct V close at all, you're going to exit that trade completely. Once you have the second bar successful, you're going to adjust the stop if you want it to break even or keep it at the red dot going forward into the third bar. In the third bar, you're now in trade management. You're going to stay in this trade until the blue line disappears at the end of the bar. If you get a TNT or orange bar along the way, you could adjust your stop to the high or low of that TNT or orange bar. If you get to your target, you're going to take 50 to 75% of your positions off, if not all, and then let the rest ride and going through and exiting out when the blue line disappears. Remember, this module covers high probability TNT strategy. To have the high probability TNT strategy, you want to make sure there's a shade on that TNT bar. It could be green. If there's a shade on the TNT bar, if it's green, that means the next bar you're looking to buy for a trend continuation. If it's red on the next bar, you're looking to sell, to bet on it going down, and that would be trend continuation. To summarize, as long as there's a bar on the TNT, you know exactly which way to trade on the next bar. If you don't have a shade, then you're going to look to another method, which will be covered in another module. Okay? No, please take a read of this note here. Inner bar, the shade may disappear and it may come back. At the end of the bar, the shade must be there to stay in any trade. So in this strategy, you have to have a shade on the TNT, and a shade has to be maintained in the entry of your trade, in the 2-bar validation of your trade, and every part of your trade. So you always need a shade in your trade. If you don't, you're going to have to exit out. Let's step through an example. Here's the first example here. This is Bitcoin in 4 hour. It could be any example out there. At the end of the bar, we now have a TNT. It's in a green shade, and you could see it now set up a blue dot and also a red dot here. Notice there's a little dashboard here too. So if you look at TNT, it tells you this bullish, and that's a setup bar here. So this dashboard will tell you the state of the strategy there too. So if you forget the rules, you can look here and it'll tell you exactly what state you're in. This is the setup bar, which is the TNT bar. Step 2 is now to place the orders. Once this TNT bar is closed, it's confirmed. Now you can place the orders at the blue dot, the red dot, and your target. In this example here, your bullish entry will be here, so this will be a buy stop. This will be a conditional stop, and now you're looking for a blue cross above you. Notice you don't have blue crosses above you, you have them below you. So we already reached target on this trade here in this time frame. So in this one here, we really don't have a target since the blue crosses are below us, not above us. That's no problem at all. We're going to follow through and just keep on trading. Step 3 is that on the next bar, we enter this trade. When we enter this trade, at the end of the bar, we're going to look to see where we close. Here's the closing price. There is the entry. We closed above the entering price, so this is profitable on this state here. So we're going to stay in this trade. Notice this note here. The price did get to the red dot, but it got to the red dot before we entered. So this trade is still valid here. So remember, this red dot is a conditional stop that's tied to the entry. Okay? If this trade was not profitable, we'll exit the trade. If at the end of this trade here, the shade had disappeared, we will also exit the trade. Step 4 is where we're validating the second bar, which is right there. In this bar here, we're going to look at the V close and look where it is in respect to the entry. There's your entry. This is a bullish trade. You want that to be above the entry dot. It is, so we're going to stay in this trade. Also, the shade is still there at the end of the bar, so we're going to stay in this trade. If the shade was not there or this V closes below the entry on the second bar, we would exit this trade completely. Okay. Also, remember, you have your stop at the red dot here. Please read this information here. Some people use just a simple touching of the stop to exit. Some people wait to the end of the bar to see if it closed above or below that red dot. So this is your choice here, but if you're a conservative trader, as soon as it hits the red dot, you're going to exit. In this example, it did not, so we don't have to worry about it, but I just want you to take note of this right now. Step 3 is before the third bar begins, you want to adjust your stop if you want to. If you're a conservative trader, you're going to change your stop from the red dot to the blue dot, which will basically mean this trade is free, break even. If you're aggressive, you're going to keep your stop at the red dot. Step 6 is on the third bar. Before it begins, now you're going to start to see a blue line on the third bar, and also you'll see a black arrow printed on the TNT bar. This appears here once you pass the 2-bar validation and you adjust your stop. You will stay in this trade now until the blue line disappears at the end of the bar or you get to your existing stop. While you're in the trade as the blue line is proceeding forward, if you get an orange bar of TNT, at the end of that bar, you could adjust your stop. So if you had your stop at break even, a red dot, when this TNT came in, I can now change my stop from there to the TNT low minus a couple of points, which is a buffer, so I could adjust and put my stop there. So I will stay in this trade until the blue line disappears or it gets to my stop, which would be right here now. Step 8 is to exit the trade when the blue line disappears. And you could see here, the blue line was still there on this bar here. Over here, at the end of the bar, not inner bar, at the end of the bar, the blue line was not there, so we'd exit the trade. This is a different example here. In here, this is bar 1, this is bar 2, it passed. Now you're in this trade until the blue line disappears. In this example here, you reach the target here, right there on the opening here. In fact, you gapped above it. At that point, you should take 50 to 75% of your positions off, if not all your positions off. This now concludes Module 5, the TNT Strategy Ideal Trend Strategy. In this strategy, you're looking for a TNT and you need to make sure you have its shade and the V trend, and they're both telling you the same thing. They're both bullish or bearish. If you have that, now you have a high probability trend trade, and you're going to set up the orders to enter and follow the trading plan as we specified over here in this module.